Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the AKAdemy Great Debate for middle and high school students. We are thrilled to have you here tonight for what promises to be an exciting, inspiring, and thought-provoking evening. This event is a celebration of student excellence, critical thinking, and the power of public speaking. Tonight is more than just a debate. It's a moment where young minds take center stage to showcase their skills they've been sharpening over the past several months, from crafting arguments to delivering them with confidence and clarity. These students are ready to show what they've made of. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize and welcome any elected officials in attendance. Thank you for your presence and support. We also owe a huge thank you to the St. Petersburg Midtown campus and their night staff. Twice a week for the past 2.5 months, they've graciously opened their doors and provided a space for our students to grow, practice, and prepare. We are deeply grateful. Each of our passionate debate coaches challenged the students to dig deep intellectually and emotionally, engaging with real-world topics that require complex thinking, problem-solving, and effective communication. The goal of the Academy Great Debate is not just to develop strong speakers, but to shape thoughtful leaders who can use language, logic, and structured arguments to impact their communities and their future. The two topics tonight are hot, controversial issues that have pushed our students far beyond their comfort zones. They've had to think critically, research deeply, and speak boldly. And let's be honest, it stretched their coaches too. First, you'll hear from our high school students who will take the stage to tackle a topic that continues to spark national controversy: diversity, equity, and inclusion. While DEI initiatives aim to foster fairness and representation, they've also sparked intense debate around effectiveness and consequences. Tonight, they'll take on the challenging question: does the emphasis on DEI in schools and workplaces create a more inclusive society, or does it lead to increased polarization and division? Then you'll hear from our middle school students who will debate on one of the most controversial and rapidly evolving issues of our time: artificial intelligence. As AI continues to transform industries, reshape economies, and redefine how we live and work, the question of control and responsibility becomes more urgent. Their debate tonight is: should governments regulate AI development, even if it means slowing down technological progress? Let me also make it clear that the positions presented tonight may not reflect the personal beliefs of the students or their coaches. This experience is about learning how to form and communicate arguments, how to respectfully disagree, and how to lead with clarity, compassion, and confidence. Now, before we kick off, I want to extend a huge thank you to everyone who helped make tonight possible. Our amazing students, our dedicated coaches, Brandy Williams-Miller, Joy Avery Wright, Cedric Hall, and Dr. James Jackson. We also want to thank Damon Daughtry and the Palladium Theater and their staff, Pinellas Technical College, Trevor Pettiford, and the St. Petersburg Police Department, Family Dental Boutique, Judge Moore, and many of our gracious sponsors. Because of your support, we're awarding over 4,000 in scholarships tonight, and over the last 7 years, we've been able to award more than 37,000 to students through this program. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Up next, the Honorable Patrice Moore will provide important building and safety details. Then you'll hear overview of our Academy program represented by Jasmine Clark. After that, we'll introduce our judges and close with the introduction of our moderator by Ms. Cassandra Williams. Let's get ready for tonight of passion. Welcome to the 2025 Academy Great Debate.
Everyone, and again, welcome. Just for a few safety tips, in case of an emergency, we do have 4 exits to the rear and to the front. If anyone has any heart issues, I think there is an AED machine in here. If not, see the men in purple over there. We do have a couple that know CPR, or the ladies in pink and green over here, and we will take care of you. Once again, thank you for coming, and I pray that we all have a safe night.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us here for our AKA Academy Great Debate. I am Jasmine Clark, and I am representing the AKA Academy. We are excited to welcome you to an evening of discussion, opposing arguments, and intellectual debate amongst our young scholars. The topics are certainly relevant, and I'm excited to hear our youth discuss the pros and cons to our artificial intelligence, also known as AI, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. The goal of the Academy is to help our youth develop to their fullest potential, set goals, and develop a sustainable career plan. We touch on all aspects of youth development, including education and career development, mental wellness, team building, mentoring, and self-care and self-awareness. The programming, like this tonight, focuses on critical thinking and public speaking. We also provide subject matter homework assistance and ACT/SAT college test prep. Aside from our debate program, we also have our Girl Talk and Boys to Men mentoring programs. We recently completed a college tour and STEM leadership program, and we are now preparing for our world-famous St. Petersburg well-known end-of-the-year showcase and scholarship programs to congratulate the class of 2025. Woo, right? Give it up. We are thankful to our primary funders, the Youth Development Fund Foundation of Pinellas County, and the Pinellas County Juvenile Welfare Board, the City of St. Petersburg, and our partners, the men of the Ada Row chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Incorporated. We continue to offer creative and relevant activities which continue to engage, educate, and encourage our youth. Congratulations in advance to Dr. Delphina Davis and her committee and our scholars and coaches on the execution and presentation of another great debate program. Take notes, learn a lot, and enjoy the evening. Have a great debate.
I would like to take this moment to introduce our judges for this evening. We have Dr. Kiran Jean Baptiste, Provost, St. Petersburg College. We have Sergeant Samaria Church, St. Petersburg Police Department. Samora. Reverend Kenneth Irby, Community Intervention and Safety Liaison, City of St. Petersburg. Denebra McClendon Gray, Director, Denebra Coaching and Consulting. And our veteran, Mr. Brandon Williams, In-House Counsel, Metro Development Group.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cassandra Williams, and I have the pleasure of introducing our moderator for this evening. This individual doesn't need an introduction. In fact, we claim him as one of our own. He has been with us from day one of the Great Debate and has witnessed firsthand the growth of the youth who have participated over the last 7 years. I'm speaking none other than Mr. Trevor Pettiford. Trevor is an Emmy Award-winning broadcast journalist with over 30 years of experience in television news. Originally hailing from Dayton, Ohio, where he started his career at WHIO-TV, Trevor graduated from Bowling Green State University with a degree in radio, film, and TV. Trevor has extensive journalism experience. He was formerly with Spectrum Bay News 9, former bureau chief for WFTV-TV in Orlando. He also worked for WAGA-TV in Atlanta and has been an anchor for WVTM-TV in Birmingham, Alabama. Trevor's love for AKA is deep-rooted. His mother, Joan Tomlinson Pettiford, and his sister, Tiffany Pettiford McMillan, are both members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Trevor volunteers with the Men in the Making and is on the board of directors for the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas County. Trevor is married to Clay Ellerbrook, who is the principal flutist in the Florida Orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator for the evening, Mr. Trevor Pettiford.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. How are y'all doing today? You have to forgive me. This is the first year that I've had allergies, so you'll have to forgive the sinuses, but we'll work through it okay. This evening, this is always an exciting evening for me to come and do this and be a part of the AKAdemy, because tonight, as I say every year, you will give witness to Black excellence in its earliest stages tonight. It is one of the most incredible things to see. You will be inspired and you will be filled with hope and confidence for our next generation. So with that, I would like to introduce Eris Shepard, who will give you the overview of the middle school debate program. Eris? Awesome. As Eris comes up, I believe we should have the middle school teams come join us and sit down. Thank you. Eris.
Good evening. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is a development of computer systems that can perform tasks that are typically require human intelligence, such as problem solving, decision making, and learning. From healthcare to finance, AI is revolutionizing industries and shaping the future of society. However, as powerful as AI is, it also comes with risks. Unregulated AI could lead to job displacement, ethical dilemmas, and security threats. This raises a critical question. Should the government regulate AI development even if it slows technological progress? On one hand, regulation could help ensure AI is developed safely, preventing risks such as bias, misuse, and economic disruption. On the other hand, too much regulation could hinder innovation, delaying potential benefits that AI could bring to society. What you're about to hear tonight, ladies and gentlemen, are arguments exploring both perspectives, weighing the need for oversight against the importance of continued technological progress. Thank you.
Now, if we could have both teams enter the stage and take your places. While they do that, there will be time limits for each time for their statements and rebuttals, averaging around 2 to 3 minutes, and I will be keeping a timer here with me. And when they get to that time, I will be asking them to stop speaking. Let's give them a round of applause as they enter the stage. Once again, the topic is, should governments regulate AI development even if it means slowing down technological progress? With the opening statement and affirmative, constructive number one for 3 minutes, we have Rodney Reese.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rodney Reese. This evening, my team and I stand before you in favor of governments regulating AI developments, even if it means slowing down technological progress. We firmly believe that the answer is yes. Governments must regulate AI to ensure safety, fairness, and ethical use. AI is powerful and growing fast, but without proper rules, it can be shockingly dangerous. I want you to imagine this. Imagine AI making unfair decisions about jobs, spreading false information, or even being used in harmful ways. Some of us are already at a disadvantage, and many may have to work harder than our peers to elevate. And now we're adding unregulated AI to the mix? That's not a reality I want. Do you? We already have enough to deal with in this political climate. That's why it's so hard to believe that our opponents are okay with a society run by unregulated AI. You will hear my teammates speak about the importance of regulating AI in medicine, politics, and government, tech companies, personal data and identity, and in education. AI is already creating an upheaval across industries, government, education, and creative arts. Deepfakes are already being blamed for phony political media. AI has arrived and we need to regulate it. This information was stated by weforum.org. According to Natural University, 77% of devices being used have some form of AI, and 63% of organizations intend to adopt AI globally within the next 3 years. Yes, regulations may slow AI development a little, but safety must come first. Just like we have rules for cars, food, and medicine to protect people, we need rules for AI to prevent harm. Slowing down for the right reasons is better than rushing into a future full of risk for the wrong reasons. In this debate, we will show that regulation helps prevent discrimination, ensures AI is used responsibly, and protects people from potential dangers. The future of AI should be about making life better for everyone, and I repeat, everyone, not just a few. Thank you.
With the negative cross-examination, for 3 minutes, I give you Michaela McQueen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michaela McQueen. My teammates and I believe restricting our AI development, even with the intent of mitigating potential risks, would inflict significant and detrimental consequences that we cannot afford. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming industries, promising revolutionary advancements across healthcare, manufacturing, transportation, and education. Its primary strength lies in its ability to enhance process efficiency at a scale and speed unattainable by human labor. By automating routine tasks, analyzing vast data sets, and optimizing complex systems, AI dramatically boosts productivity across diverse sectors. However, imposing government regulations that impede its development risk delaying or entirely blocking these critical advancements. In healthcare, AI can streamline diagnostics, personalized treatments, and elevate patient care. Regulatory delays would postpone the implementation of these life-saving technologies, potentially impacting millions. In manufacturing, AI optimizes production lines, reduces waste, improves quality control, and lowers costs. Hindering AI development would deprive companies of these enhancements, resulting in long-term economic repercussions for businesses, consumers, and workers. Furthermore, imposing regulations that slow AI development would be particularly damaging in an increasingly competitive global landscape. Nations that impose excessive restrictions on AI research and development will be significantly disadvantaged compared to those that foster innovation without unnecessary bureaucratic delays. Technology advances rapidly, and any attempt to slow it domestically would simply shift innovation elsewhere, leaving regulating countries behind. Instead of slowing progress, we should focus on enhancing process efficiency through AI. While concerns about ethical risk and negative societal impacts are valid, there are more balanced and forward-thinking approaches than simply slowing down development. Governments can establish frameworks that promote transparency, fairness, and accountability, ensuring ethical, responsible AI development without imposing excessive constraints. These frameworks would allow AI to evolve while addressing safety and ethical concerns, striking a balance between innovation and regulation. Our focus should be on improving process efficiency within AI development itself by streamlining regulatory processes, fostering collaboration between private and public sectors, and implementing adaptive oversight mechanisms. We can ensure responsible AI advancements without hindering its growth. Regulatory frameworks that prioritize clarity, flexibility, and collaboration rather than restrictive barriers would enable AI to realize its full potential faster and more efficiently. Thank you and enjoy.
With the opening statement and negative constructive, number one, I give you Michael Ricks, 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Michael Ricks, and this evening, I will explain why AI development should remain unregulated by government due to its significant societal and economic benefits. AI, or artificial intelligence, is a field focused on creating systems that mimic human learning, reasoning, and decision-making, but more efficiently and quickly. What my opponents need to understand is AI plays a vital role in addressing mental health issues, with many companies integrating AI into apps and websites to offer support and companionship, especially as the depression rates rise. In medicine, AI has accelerated drug development, optimizing 22 molecules to improve existing treatments and contributing to the creation of antibodies, vaccines, and repurposed compounds. Economically, AI is key, driving 35% of the stock market activity through tech companies and industries like manufacturing. AI cuts costs and speeds up production, further boosting economic growth. With these benefits in mind, regulating AI could stifle its potential. Because of movies, AI is seen as this type of evil robot that will erase humanity, but this is not true at all. AI is a friend to humans, not a threat. Some jobs will be displaced, but many more are being created to use, test out, and work alongside AI. And don't forget maintenance jobs. People say AI is bad, but they use it every day to assist them. GPSs have AI, phones, televisions, and even banking accounts. Imagine if we regulated AI back 50 years ago, we had none of these things I just mentioned. With AI's advanced reasoning skills, AI can figure out how to better technology and human health, mentally and physically. AI can help you figure out or learn more about anything. There's also AI that you can talk to and be in person with to fill voids of loneliness and depression. AI can analyze humans to identify issues and provide instant solutions, even detecting human error in diagnosis like homework using tools such as GothMath or ChatGPT. It's clear how beneficial AI is in addressing global challenges. Over-regulating AI out of fear or job loss or of an AI invasion could hinder progress. AI is creating new jobs and opportunities for innovation. And instead of focusing on AI as a threat, governments should prioritize tackling issues like mental health and poverty, areas where AI has already made a positive impact, while governments focus on less serious stuff. Should we really let our fear rise above our faith?
Thank you. With the affirmative cross-examination, we have Bernard Stokes for 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bernard Stokes. You may have heard our opponents, Michaela and Michael, say that regulating AI may limit flexibility and hold back innovations, impacting technology investments and investments. But what Michaela and Michael failed to realize is that we cannot afford to allow new technologies like AI to enter the market with a Wild West mentality. Regulators must take a proactive rather than a reactive approach towards AI development to ensure AI is responsible, beneficial, and enhances our lives positively. This is according to EnterpriseSecurityTech.com. As AI continues to evolve, it is becoming increasingly used in our daily lives. However, with this transformation comes a growing concern about the ethical, societal, and safety implications of AI. While some argue that regulator frameworks may hinder innovations, there are many reasons why government should prioritize regulations to ensure AI is developed safely, ethically, and for the benefits of all. One of the primary reasons government should regulate AI development is to ensure that the technology is developed and used ethically. AI systems have the potential to make decisions that affect human lives in profound ways. From hiring practices to criminal sentencing, without proper oversight, there is a risk that AI could carry out societal biases. For example, AI algorithms used in hiring may unintentionally discriminate against certain groups based on race, gender, or age, as they may be trained on biased data sets in criminal justice. Predictive algorithms could reinforce racial profiling or target certain communities unfairly. And we all know whose community that will be. By regulating AI development, governments can enforce guidelines that ensure AI systems are transparent and unbiased. Fair and ethical oversights will help prevent the unintended consequences of AI, such as discrimination, and ensure that its development aligns with broader societal values. Although slowing down progress may be necessary, the long-term benefits of ethical AI far outweigh the risk of unregulated, unchecked development. Thank you.
With the affirmative constructive number 2, I have Elijah McQueen. 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Elijah McQueen. What exactly is AI? I'm glad you asked. AI is a set of technologies that enables computers to perform a variety of advanced functions, like automate tasks, improve decision-making processes, and enhance the accuracy and speed of data analysis. There are 7 types of AI, according to builtin.com. Those types of AI are narrow AI, weak AI, reactive machine AI, limited memory AI, artificial superintelligence AI, and artificial general intelligence AI. AI collects vast amounts of personal data, raising concerns for privacy breaches. So, regulations will lower the concerns for privacy breaches, since the coding for your privacy will be more complex for hackers. Although regulations will slow down processes, it would enable people to adapt to the fast-growing AI. Without regulations, companies might misuse personal data, deploy invasive surveillance tools, or even violate citizens' rights. As of this year, according to Google, there has been around 3,442 crashes because of self-driving mode. Around 51 of them have sadly been fatal. Without regulations, how's that Tesla sound now? Good idea? Nah, don't think so. If a car doesn't have good self-driving AI, it has the potential to harm the person in the car. Also, AI is used in vast amounts of jobs, like architecture, doctors, science, etc. So that means if AI doesn't get regulated, it can malfunction. It could mess up an architect design, create a wrong medicine, and it could wrongly name a specimen. According to National Institutes of Health, AI algorithms that analyze medical images like X-rays, MRIs, ET scans, etc. to detect diseases like cancer often require a rigorous amount of validation to ensure accuracy. AI systems that patients use for specific medicine need to be monitored carefully by AI to prevent biases and ensuring appropriate treatment recommendations. So that is why regulations is needed in AI. Also, regulated AI can design a new molecule based on the rationale of polypharmacology. In case you're wondering what polypharmacology is, it is a study of drugs that bind to multiple targets in the body or target specific body parts to improve your health. That is all I have for you tonight. Thank you for your time.
With the negative cross-examination for 3 minutes, we have Solomon Reese.
Good evening. My name is Solomon Reese. Slowing down the development of AI through governmental regulation, particularly when the world faces so many pressing issues, will not only be counterproductive, but also potentially harmful in the long run. The advancements that AI advances of AI promises across multiple fields, including healthcare, environmental sustainability, and automation, are too significant to be held back by regulation delay. For instance, AI is already being used to enhance process efficiency, which drives productivity and reduces costs across industries. In healthcare, AI-powered diagnostics are helping doctors make faster, more accurate decisions, which is in turn saving lives. Slowing down the development of these technologies through regulation means denying hospitals, clients, and patients access to tools that could dramatically improve care outcomes. At a time when healthcare systems around the world are under immense strain, can we afford to put the brakes on innovations that could improve critical solutions? Moreover, AI's ability to streamline complex processes and optimize resources could help address climate change by improving energy efficiency and enable more sustainable product methods. By regulation AI development and slowing these innovations, we risk hindering the very solutions that could mitigate environmental damage, reducing carbon footprints, and helping transition to more sustainable future. It's also important to note that technological advancements, especially in AI, do not occur in isolation. The global tech ecosystem moves fast, and nations that slow down their AI research and development due to restrictive regulations will be left behind. And if our other countries could to innovation with the same regulation constraints, they will outpace us in economic growth and technological influence, leaving us at a competitive disadvantage. While I agree that AI must be developed efficiently, it's crucial that we address corners in a way that doesn't stiff progress. We can have safeguards in place to ensure AI is used responsibly through.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. With the negative constructive, number 2, we have Lanaya Lindsay.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges, and fellow debaters, my name is Lanaya Lindsay, and as we conclude this debate, I argue you to consider the profound implications of regulating AI development. While the intentions behind regulating may be safeguard society, the reality is that such measures could hinder the progress and innovations in ways that are counterproductive. Firstly, regulations can impede technological advancements. AI development thrives in an environment where researchers and developers have the freedom to explore new ideas and push boundaries. Imposing stringent regulations would create barriers that slow down the pace of innovations. This could prevent us from realizing the full potential of AI, which has the capacity to solve complex problems, improve and enhance our quality of life. Secondly, economic growth could be compromised. AI is a driving force behind many emerging industries and has the potential to create significant economic opportunities. By regulating AI development, we risk stifling an spirit that fuels economic growth. Countries that adapt heavy-handed regulations may be found themselves lagging behind in global economic, losing out on the benefits that come with being at the forefront of technological advancements. Thirdly, ethical concerns may be addressed through alternative means. Rather than relying on rigid regulations, we should promote a culture of ethical responsibility within AI community. This can be achieved through self-regulations, industry and standards, and collaborative efforts between stakeholders. By fostering an environment of ethical awareness and accountability, we can address the ethical challenges of AI without stifling innovations. Furthermore, regulations may lead to unintended consequences. Overregulations can create a false sense of security, where compliance with regulations is seen as sufficient to ensure safety and ethical behaviors. This mindset can be dangerous, as it overlooks the need of continuous vigilance and proactive measures to address emerging risks. Instead of relying solely on regulations, we should encourage ongoing assessments, adoptions, and improvement in AI practices. In conclusion, while the regulations of AI development may seem like a prudent approach to mitigating risks, it ultimately poses a significant threat to innovations, economic growth, and ethical progress. Rather than imposing and restricting regulations, we should.
Thank you. Finally, with our affirmative cross-examination, for 3 minutes, we have Jordan Johnson.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Johnson. You may have heard my opponents, Lanaya and Solomon, say that regulating AI will slow down innovation, or that the government is slow. Companies can self-regulate, or control could lead to misuse. But have you all thought about the most important thing? Our education. Yeah, I don't think you did. AI is being used in education. Shocking? I think not. Due to rapid advances in technology, the AI use grows with it. How does this affect our future? Well, it affects it a lot. In 2024, 86% of students were reported using AI in their schoolwork, states Statista.com. So how should we approach this issue? By regulating AI. Now, even though this might slow down the technological process, would you really want new technology versus a bright AI-regulated future for the youth of tomorrow? While on the topic of AI being regulated, let's talk about the big question, why? Cheating and plagiarism are, as mentioned, chief among AI concerns raised by educators. If AI is used to complete assignments or exams or write papers, it is unfair to students who don't cheat, and it undermines the education and learning process for those who don't cheat. Sounds like a major issue. Now, if we regulate AI, this would be seen less in education in total. Regulating AI in schools can foster a safer, more ethical, equitable, and learning environment. By ensuring responsible AI integration, mitigating potential biases, and protecting students' data privacy. Now, with all this hurt, there's always hope. So how does regulating AI development help education? Well, with proper guidance, the regulation of AI in education can lead to improved learning results due to kids actually learning the material, boost their teacher instruction and well-being, and promote fairness in education, weforum.org states. Another pro with regulation in AI, teachers and educators can learn student learning styles, building relationships, and showing how each individual student learns. Overall, students will become less technologically overdependent because they will have actual conversations with humans instead of searching for the answers. Thank you.
Now we will give them 2 minutes for team conference. All right, I would ask you to return to your seats, but you've already done so. Thank you. Now, We'll continue with the negative rebuttal for 3 minutes. Madison Bell.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Madison Bell, and tonight I want to argue further against the regulation of AI development. While the intentions behind regulation may seem noble, my opponents don't fully grasp the consequences could be detrimental to innovation, economic growth, and societal progress. First, regulation stifles innovations. Rapid advancements in AI have been driven by the freedom to explore, experiment, and innovate. Strict regulations create bureaucratic barriers that slow down research and development, hindering scientists and engineers from pushing the boundaries of AI potential. History shows that innovation thrives in environments where creativity is not constrained by excessive oversight. Imposing restrictions on AI could limit breakthrough discoveries that benefit humanity. Second, regulation could lead to economic stagnation. AI has the potential to revolutionize industries, create new markets, and generate economic growth. By regulating AI development, we risk stifling the economic benefits that come with technological progress. Countries that impose heavy regulation on AI may find themselves falling behind the global economy, as other nations with more lenient policies surge ahead. This could result in a loss of competitive edge, diminishing opportunities for economic growth in an increasingly interconnected and fast-paced world. Third, regulations may not effectively address the ethical concerns it aims to solve. The ethical implications of AI are complex and multifaceted. Rather than relying on rigid regulations, we should encourage a culture of ethical responsibility within the AI community. Through self-regulation, industry standards, and collaborative efforts between researchers, developers, and policymakers, we can address the ethical challenges of AI without stifling innovation. By fostering an environment of ethical awareness and accountability, we can ensure responsible AI development. Finally, regulation can create a false sensitive of security. Over-reliance on regulation may lead to compliances where developers assume that compliance alone ensures safety and ethics. Instead, we should promote continuous vigilance and ongoing improvement in AI practices. In conclusion, regulating AI development possesses significant risks to innovation, economic growth, and ethical progress. We must focus on fostering self-regulation and collaboration to harness AI's full potential for positive change. Thank you.
With the affirmative rebuttal, we have Rodney Reese.
Good evening again. My name is Rodney Reese. Our opponents have argued that government regulations will slow down AI innovation and limit its benefits. While we understand their concerns, they have failed to recognize a crucial fact. Unchecked AI development poses serious risk to society. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is your safety and cybersecurity to you? I'm sure you all said 10, but without regulated AI, your safety and cybersecurity are at risk. The NIST reported adversaries can deliberately confuse or poison AI's input to achieve a malicious output. For example, bad actors can deploy deceptive marketings on roadways to cause autonomous vehicles to veer into oncoming traffic. What if actors use adversarial prompting techniques to override ethical and security protocols? Threat actors are already employing deepfakes and impersonated voices in advanced societal engineering attacks. AI systems are prone to numerous biases and malfunctions. For example, a driverless car engineered to navigate the streets of Mountain View, California, can adapt well to its regional driving customs. But if the same car is introduced to a new city or country, it might behave unexpectedly. Although AI algorithms are designed by humans, its outputs are a black box. Forget the users. Even AI creators can't explain how or why AI models behave in a certain way. As these systems grow into complexity and scale, their decision-making systems will become increasingly opaque. When users share information with AI systems, storage location and usage become ambiguous, raising privacy and consent issues. Data ammonization in AI systems can result in data exposures or leakage, as seen in the case of Samsung. Driverless car companies collect and consume vast amounts of data on travel patterns, which can lead to the surveillance of an individual. AI also raises copyright concerns regarding ownership of content generated by these large language models. Data privacy in AI is about keeping personal data safe. Without strict protection, AI can easily expose really valuable and sensitive details and information. Without the regulation of AI, it could pose a dangerous situation, causing plenty of info to be released from your local home to the government secrets. Thank you.
With the negative rebuttal number 2 and closing statement, we have Kennedy Smith.
Good evening. My name is Kennedy Smith, and I stand before you to close my team's argument against the proposition of slowing down technological progress in the field of artificial intelligence. The potential benefits of AI are immense, and hindering its development would be a disservice to our future. Imagine the possibilities. AI-powered medical diagnostics identifying diseases earlier and more accurately, personalized education tailored to individual learning styles, and the automation of dangerous or tedious tasks, freeing up human potential for more creative and fulfilling innovators. Wouldn't you feel empowered knowing AI could elevate burdens and improve our quality of life? History comes with examples of government intervention, stifling groundbreaking advancements. Consider the printing press. Had its development been subjected to bureaucratic red tape, requiring approval for each new font or printing technique, the spread of knowledge and literacy would have been severely hampered. The very nature of AI is its dynamism, its ability to learn and evolve beyond our current comprehension. Heavy-handed regulation risks locking us into a static understanding, preventing the emergence of potentially life-changing breakthroughs. We must trust our researchers and innovators, not shackle them with restrictive laws. Some argue that AI possesses risks, such as job displacement and an algorithmic bias. These concerns are valid, but they should be addressed through proactive solutions, not through stifling innovation. History demonstrates that technological advancements often create new jobs and industries. We should invest in education and training programs to equip workers with the skills needed for AI-driven economy. Addressing in AI algorithms requires diverse data sets, transparent development processes, and ongoing monitoring and evaluation. These are challenges to be overcome, not reasons to halt progress. Furthermore, global competition is a stark reality. While we debate the merits of regulation, other nations are forging ahead. China, for example, has made significant investments in AI research and development, aiming to become a global leader. A slowdown here means a strategic disadvantage, a loss of economic leadership, and a vulnerability to relying on other nations for critical AI. Slowing down AI development is not a solution, it is a surrender. It is a surrender to fear, a surrender to stagnation, and a surrender to our competitors. Let us embrace the potential of AI while remaining vigilant about its ethical implications by fostering a balanced approach that encourages innovation and promotes reasonable development. Fostering an unbalanced approach that encourages innovation and promotes reasonable development, we can unlock the transformative power of AI for the benefit of all. Let us not stifle progress, but rather guide it towards a brighter future. Thank you all. Have a blessed night.
And finally, our affirmative rebuttal, number 2, and closing statement, Nakia McQueen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we have clearly shown why government regulation of AI is not just important, but necessary. We firmly believe that a small delay in AI development is worth it to ensure safety, fairness, and ethical use. Without regulations, AI systems might perpetuate or even amplify biases, leading to unfair or discriminatory outcomes. Regulations can ensure that AI systems are used ethically and are designed to treat people fairly. If government regulates AI, it will promote transparency and ensure accountability. You have heard my team argue the regulation of AI is important within politics and governments, medicine, education, and cybersecurity, and even personal data. Our opponents argue that regulation slows down progress, stifles innovation, and runs the risk of overregulations. But what our opponents don't seem to understand is that AI should be developed responsibly, not rushed at the cost of safety and fairness. Clear regulation and standards for AI will build trust among the public, businesses, and government. If people are informed that AI is regulated, they are more likely to use and accept it, according to Google.com. Imagine this. A hospital starts using AI systems to diagnose patients. Without regulations, the AI is rushed into use. Without proper testing, one day the AI will misdiagnose a patient, leading to the wrong treatment. Who is responsible? The company that made it, the hospital, the AI itself? These are dangers our opponents fail to speak about with unregulated AI. When this goes wrong, there is no accountability, no oversight, and real people like you and me have to suffer. Ask yourself, do you really want to take that risk? According to Bernard Marr, AI is a global technology and its development and use can have far-reaching consequences. AI systems, especially in sectors like healthcare, finance, and transportation, can affect individuals' lives in profound ways. If AI tech companies take the time to get the right kind of regulations, it can ensure consumers are protected from harmful AI systems and that they have resources just in case of issues. In conclusion, regulation isn't about stopping progress, it's about making sure progress benefits everyone. Moving forward recklessly could lead to real-world harm, and by then, it may be too late for us to fix. My name is Nakai McQueen, and thank you and good night.
Now let's give both teams a round of applause for this excellent debate. Now we'll ask them as they exit the stage that we will have Jayla Hall come up and give us an overview of the high school debate that will be happening. Thank you again. Now we'll have Jayla Hall. Jayla Hall, if you could come onto the stage and give us an overview of the high school introduction.
Good evening. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, more known as DEI, refers to the initiative to create more inclusive and diverse workplaces and communities. This concept focuses on ensuring that everyone, regardless of background or identity, has access to opportunities, is treated with respect, and feels valued. DEI intentionally breaks down societal barriers, addressing systemic inequalities, and ensures that marginalized groups are given the same opportunities that have historically been denied to them over the course of time. Underrepresented groups, more specifically people of color, women, and those who are LGBTQ, often face barriers in the workplace and society. DEI, in turn, is in place to promote an inclusive workplace culture, increasing overall happiness, productivity, and collaboration, ultimately resulting in a positive environment. All in all, the goal being to level the playing field rather than elevating one over the other.
Thank you. If we could have both teams enter the stage, please. Let me fix the curtain. Yes, give them a round of applause. Again, the topic is Does the emphasis of DEI in schools and workplace create a more inclusive society, or does it lead to increased polarization and division? We begin with an opening statement and affirmative constructive number 1 for 6 minutes from Jordan Moore.
Good evening. As a country established by immigrants, the Founding Fathers made sure our government was based on popular sovereignty, a government based on the people, powered by the people, and ratified by the people. The phrase "we the people," used in the preamble of our Constitution, not only includes rich white men, but the poor black women, disabled Asian men, and queer Hispanic girls as well. DEI initiatives ensure that these minority populations receive fair treatment when interacting with American institutions that we collaborate with every day, such as schools and businesses. However, with the removal of these initiatives and other human rights initiatives, such as body autonomy and freedom of speech, done by the current presidential administration, it appears that the U.S. is slowly headed towards fascism. For those who are not familiar with the term, fascism is a political ideology that stresses the primacy and the glory of the state, unquestioning obedience to its leader, subordination of the individual will to the state's authority, and harsh suppression of dissent. Now, you might think that a country with such a strong democratic government would be impossible to change its institutions and foundations, but the process of fascism is slow and incredibly deliberate. On February 27th of this year, the Department of Education under the Trump administration created an NDEI portal, allowing people to report the schools that still have DEI initiatives put in place. This is very similar to the law put in place during Nazi Germany in 1933 that required Germans to turn in anyone who spoke against the Nazi Party, its leaders, or the government, known as the Malicious Practices Act. According to FacingHistory.org, as the Nazis worked to consolidate their power and build a cohesive national community, suppression of dissent played a key role. Suppression of dissent refers to actions taken by those in power to silence or control opposition and criticism, usually through coercive measures. America becoming a fascist nation still might seem far-fetched to you, but allow me to point out the subtle yet profound incidents that have occurred in the past few years and their ties to characteristics of fascism. Extreme nationalism. According to Britannica.com, fascist ideologues taught that national identification was the cornerstone of personal identity and that foreign influences, particularly left-wing ones, should not taint it. Now, it's not much of a coincidence that we are actively harming our allyship with our neighboring countries, Canada and Mexico, while defending an authoritarian leader in front of the face of the president of the country he's currently invading. Sexism and misogyny. Fascist movements tend to have strategies around controlling women's bodies and beliefs that a woman's main responsibility is to care for her husband and to have children. The overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022 and the threat of legal prosecution of doctors who try to perform life-saving procedures and those who are seeking abortions, or if they're having pregnancy complications, is a clear sign of the rise of totalitarianism in America. Last but not least, struggles against decadence. Mentioned in an article written by Scott Embler, fascists will define a group of people who are misleading you. They tend to blame their country's problems on scapegoats. When these politicians and corporate higher-ups use diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives as a scapegoat for societal issues, it can feed into fascist ideologies. By diverting attention to minority groups and blaming them for problems within our society, we come up with the risk of perpetuating harmful rhetoric and dangerous behaviors that threaten the foundation of democracy and human rights. It is crucial now more than ever that we resist the urge to believe that DEI initiatives are the cause of inequality and injustice, and take time to sit down and educate ourselves to find the real root of the problem. My opponents are going to try to persuade you to believe that DEI initiatives promote polarity, when it is actually quite the opposite. Fascists often create an us versus them narrative to maintain control. This is seen in the current US political environment, where there is a clear divide between those who support human rights and those who perpetuate fear and division. Why is it that President Trump blamed DEI initiatives for the cause of the fatal plane crash in Washington, D.C. on January 29th of this year within 24 hours of the accident, knowing it typically takes the National Transportation Safety Board at least a year to fully investigate and 30 days just to release a preliminary report, as mentioned in the PBS article? Dividing people during times of crisis and deliberately arousing public fear is a form of fear-mongering, a tactic that the right wing uses to justify their attacks against minority groups. Quoted from an article published by a student-run newspaper at the University of Louisiana Monroe. The incorporation of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in schools and the workplace is important because it ensures that people of all backgrounds are equipped with the necessary tools, such as proper education and a good-paying job, in order to succeed in life. The improvement of the well-being of American citizens helps build strong, trusting relationships between one another and between our institutions. That good relationship then allows citizens to pour back into our communities, improving the country's political and economic climate and creating a robust democratic nation. Thank you.
With the negative cross-examination for 3 minutes, Rania Stokes? Renaya Stokes, I'm sorry.
Good evening, everyone. DEI does not mean lowering standards. It means expanding the talent pool and ensuring that all qualified individuals have a fair chance to access opportunities. Although DEI has many benefits, it can also divide us. It doesn't always create fairness, respect, and open opportunities. DEI may not allow one's competent skills to be valued because of certain criteria. DEI initiates, when poorly implemented, can inadvertently create an exclusive society by focus on group identity or overall individual excellence, goodness, or quality, leading to discrimination and resentment rather than fostering true inclusion and equality. According to an article from yahoonews.com, Black women are less likely to benefit from the benefits to DEI, stating that white women and Asian people are the top 2 groups who have gained the most good benefits, yet Black people remain the face of it, creating a false notion that Black people are primarily beneficiaries of DEI. Despite evidence to the contrary, fueling irrational hospitality, often from those who benefit most. This helps recognize that others are trying to create a different image for the benefits women like me are supposed to receive. It should be that women and girls like me get less benefits. As Colbert stated, DEI has been and become a catch-all for undoing policies that have helped the Black community. As a white woman expressing that she feels as if it does the undoing for things that have helped the Black people, community clearly shows and states. 43% of communities continue to maintain and promote quantitative, time-bound DEI goals. DEI remain unchanged from 2023. 63% of companies have targeted talent programs for diverse talent. 70% of companies have supplier diversity programs from Forbes.com. Thank you.
With the opening statement and negative constructed number 1, we have Marley Poole for 6 minutes.
Good evening. The term DEI is one that we've all been hearing recently, but what does it mean? The DEI, or Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Enterprise, is an initiative that was put into place through an executive order signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson in September of 1965. Many workplaces began implementing diversity workshops, which trains employees to appreciate diversity in the workplace with efforts to create an inclusive environment for all employees. This sounds great, right? Unfortunately, DEI initiatives, just like most things, have a downside as well. These drawbacks outweigh the benefits. For example, in 2023, a public school principal committed suicide. After his death, it was discovered that it was connected to the recently implemented diversity workshops. These workshops usually focus on race. When he challenged them, he was in fear of being targeted.
People who do choose to challenge the claims presented in the workshops are often put in jeopardy of losing their jobs or may even face expulsion from their schools. In January of this year, the President of the United States signed executive orders in order to encourage the private sector to end illegal DEI discrimination and preferences. In other words, he signed orders reversing what President Johnson did 60 years earlier, therefore bringing DEI to the forefront again. Why is DEI polarizing? Webster's dictionary defines polarization as division into two sharply distinct opposites. In the last 60 years, DEI has been one of the most controversial issues that the nation has faced. It has led to division and hot topics in the news, social media, and colleges. The country has been separated in many ways. DEI also creates animosity and friction in the workplace. I am sure that many of us have heard of DEI hires or employees that were hired only due to the desire for a more diverse workplace, not for their actual ability to perform the job at hand. While this term is often thrown around loosely, it is extremely damaging, as accusing someone, especially who has worked hard to earn their rank, is divisive and altogether false. Earlier this year, a Georgia representative of the Republican Party, Andrew Clyde, called Deanne Criswell a DEI hire on national television. In 2021, Deanne Criswell was appointed to be the administrator of FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, who provided resources for millions after Hurricanes Helene and Milton. She was the first woman ever to lead FEMA. Before being appointed to this position, records show that she was more than qualified. She has obtained her bachelor's, 2 master's degrees, and served as the commissioner of the New York City Emergency Management Department, in which she had to deal with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. All Clyde sees is her gender. This incident goes to show the ignorance exhibited through statements like the one made by Clyde. While the supposed function of DEI is to equalize social environments such as schools and workplaces, studies have shown that it has been doing quite the opposite. According to the Philadelphia Women's Network Connection, the #1 beneficiary of DEI are white women. They have received many more opportunities for career advancement than any of the other groups that DEI was created to target. The second group that benefits from DEI are white handicapped men. In addition to this, most chief diversity officers who oversee these initiatives are white. From the looks of it, other minority groups such as Blacks, Hispanics, and the LGBTQ community have little chances to win in this situation. What is the point of having diversity workshops if the outcomes only benefit those who would have succeeded regardless? The diversity workshops administered in workplaces are another noteworthy reason as to why DEI polarizes our societies. At the end of these sessions, employees are usually given surveys. There's often a gap between what is conveyed in the survey and the behaviors of employees when they return to work. Many participants only give right answers, or answers that will satisfy those in charge of them, in order to ensure the security of their jobs and future promotions. However, there's little actual change. Many people's behaviors do not match their survey answers, but if there is a change in the workplace dynamic, it is often short-lived and the problems soon reemerge. The U.S. Department of Education has already taken action towards the elimination of DEI. They gave educational institutions that are federally funded a choice: eradicate DEI or lose the funding. DEI is changing the world as we know it. It nearly seems like we are moving backward. It is up to us as a society to use our power to stop this in its tracks while we still can. Thank you.
With the affirmative cross-examination for 3 minutes, Brianna Chambers.
Good evening, everyone. The focus on equity and inclusion in schools and workplaces is key to building a more inclusive society. By pushing DEI, places can create environments where people from different backgrounds feel valued and respected. DEI helps society by tackling systemic inequalities, boosting cultural and understanding, and prepping people for a diverse world. First, DEI tackles a long-standing inequalities in society. CBS News mentions that corporate DEI programs aim to make workplaces fairer by addressing pay gaps and lack of diversity in leadership. Groups like people of color, women, LGBTQ members, and those with disabilities have faced big barriers. DEI programs work to break these barriers through policies and practices that promote fairness. For an example, affirmative action in schools helps underrepresented students get opportunities they might miss. In workplaces, DEI includes mentorship, diversity training, and inclusive hiring to create a fair environment for everyone. Second, DEI boosts cultural and empathy. Exposure to a different perspectives broadens views and fosters respect. CBS News highlights how DEI helps employees feel connected and engaged, leading to better teamwork. In schools, DEI programs teach students about different cultures and social issues, promoting global citizenship. In workplaces, diversity training and inclusive policies encourage sharing unique perspectives, leading to more innovation. Let's look at PepsiCo and Coca-Cola, two leaders in DEI. According to an article from Diversio.com, PepsiCo has been a pioneer since the 1940s, creating an all-black sales force and committing $400 million to black businesses over 5 years in 2020. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola requires law firms to allocate work for black attorneys and withhold fees for not meeting diversity metrics. Both companies publicly share their diversity stats, building trust and accountability. They also focus on gender parity, with PepsiCo aiming for 50% women in global management by 2025, and Coca-Cola viewing gender balance as essential for business success. These efforts show that clear goals and transparency can drive meaningful change and inspire others. The emphasis on DEI in schools and workplaces plays a vital role in creating a more inclusive society. By addressing systemic inequalities and preparing individuals for a diverse world, DEI initiatives promote fairness, empathy, and respect. While some may argue that DEI efforts can lead to polarization, the long-term benefits of fostering inclusivity far outweigh these concerns. A commitment to DEI is a commitment to a more just and equitable society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you.
With the affirmative, let me turn that off. You hit it right on the buzzer. With the affirmative constructive number 2 for 5 minutes, Sanaya Dunbar.
I'm only 4 feet tall. Thank you. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. A fortress of words and ideas meant to create, strengthen, and maintain community. The National Law Review defines DEI as a framework aimed at fostering an inclusive environment where diversity is valued, equity is ensured, and everyone feels a sense of belonging. Let me reiterate that DEI is in fact for everyone, regardless of what my opponents may state, regardless of what society believes, and regardless of what media outlets may push out. It is a fortress for me, you, and you. In the blog posted to ywboston.org, it states, one of the biggest claims made by anti-DEI advocates is that DEI only benefits certain groups, usually people of color, women, and members of the LGBTQ+ community. But DEI initiatives seek to ensure that everyone has what they need to succeed, regardless of their identity. DEI isn't white versus black or man versus woman. There are so many positives that have sprung from the initiatives of DEI that society has chosen to ignore. InStride.com includes a few of these positives as listed. 6.6% of all Fortune 500 companies have women as their CEOs, which is an all-time record. Corporations that identify as more diverse and inclusive are 35% more likely to outperform their competitors, and diverse management teams are proven to lead to 19% higher revenues. And in case you're wondering, these are all credited to DEI. So allow me to ask my opponents and the audience here tonight, how have we as a society allowed the influence of the Civil Rights Act and Brown versus Board of Education to be in vain, spoiled, and tarnished. Now when we see or hear the term DEI, it is associated and spoken with such derogatory undertones. The misinformation led and told by anti-DEI advocates have formulated the notion that DEI is unnecessary, stems from a lack of education, the very thing my opponents are jeopardizing. These anti-DEI advocates have weaponized the term and essentially turned a positive initiative into a slur. DEI has become the new slur that contains the same intent as the N-word to deteriorate, dismantle, and discredit Black Americans. It is being used to discredit and dismantle the LGBTQ+ community, women, people with disabilities, and so on. And to be clear, a slur is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as an insultation or allegation about someone that is likely to insult them or damage their reputation. So when anti-DEI advocates say that Mayor Brandon Scott of Baltimore is to blame for the bridge collapse because of DEI and because he is a Black man, is that not intending to damage his reputation? And in response to the incident, the National Urban League shared that politician Phil Lyman stated in a Twitter post, "DEI equals die." Very inappropriate and insulting. Or how about when it is publicly and nationally stated without evidence that diversity initiatives at the Federal Aviation Administration are to blame for a deadly crash between a passenger plane and Army helicopter in our nation's capital? Is that not insulting? As quoted by theconversation.com, let's stop using an increasingly appropriated racist, sexist, and ableist dog whistle to undermine others. YWBoston.org also states that there is a belief amongst anti-DEI advocates that DEI is unnecessary because we live in a post-racial society. Well, to that I say I would love to see it. If this were true, we wouldn't be having this conversation about whether or not we should or shouldn't be lifting up voices in schools and workplaces, and there wouldn't be conversations regarding racialized police brutality, the Black Lives Matter movements, and Black jobs. So should those of us here tonight who identify as Black or African American go search for these Black jobs, which are demeaning the assets, skills, and qualifications of our community because these are believers that think DEI that doesn't belong in the workplace. There shouldn't be Black jobs, white jobs, or LGBTQ+ jobs because as Professor Ella Washington stated in an NPR interview, at the core, what we're talking about with this work is creating systems in our society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. That is the core of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Are we going to allow a practical and useful initiative to be left in the hands of those who lack the understanding of the cause? Because as the saying goes, if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. And these anti-DEI advocates have fallen for everything. So I implore my opponents and those in the audience to please stand for something. Stand for a diverse, equitable, and inclusive tomorrow. Thank you.
With the negative cross-examination for 3 minutes, Layla Tyler.
Good evening. While proponents of DEI argue that these programs create a more inclusive society, the reality is that they can contribute to a greater division and polarization. According to Adam Wittenberg's What Would You Do with $1 Billion?, the U.S. Department of Education has spent over $1 billion on DEI programs since 2021. However, at the same time, student academic performance has significantly declined, with many students struggling in core subjects like math and reading. This suggests that resources and focus are being diverted away from improving educational outcomes in favor of prioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Rather than bringing people together, DEI initiatives can create a divide by focusing too much on identity-based categories. The focus on diversity goals rather than academic achievement can lead to resentment. Students may feel that merit and hard work are being sidelined in favor of meeting diversity quotas, which can create feelings of unfairness and frustration. This division can be especially evident when educational resources are stretched thin and funds are directed towards DEI programs, rather than addressing academic challenges. The decline in student performance, while the Department of Education continues to spend large sums on DEI, suggests that the emphasis on diversity may not be helping to unite people or improve overall outcomes. Instead, it might be creating an environment where divisions based on identity are more pronounced and students' educational needs are not being fully addressed. In short, this diversion of resources becomes even more problematic when considering the broader effects on the educational landscape. Rather than bridging gaps and uniting students, the emphasis on DEI can exacerbate divisions. The focus on identity-based categories and diversity goals may overshadow the fundamental mission of education, which is academic achievement. When students perceive that their academic performance is being sidelined in favor of meeting diversity quotas, it can foster feelings of unfairness and frustration, further contributing to polarization within the educational system. Thank you.
With the negative constructive for 5 minutes, Tatiana Shelley.
Good evening. Diversity, equity, and inclusion seems like a universally noble aspiration, but what DEI currently focuses on in the workplace and schools only create further division, hostility, and ideological breakdown rather than actual unification. By emphasizing group identity over personal merit, fostering an us versus them mentality, and imposing strict cognitive guidelines, DEI programs, good intentions aside, are only working to increase tensions rather than reduce them. Instead of bringing people together, the emphasis on DEI has resulted in more workplace friction, growing prejudice, and a declining level of trust in our institutions. Today, DEI programs can foster resentment, exacerbate view-based conflict, disencourage open dialogue, and even harm the very groups they're meant to protect. One of the most pressing issues with DEI programs is that they emphasize group identity more than individual achievement. Policies like hiring quotas and admission preferences based on race or gender may sound equitable on the surface, but they are often resented by those who feel unfairly excluded because of factors they cannot control. A study by the Center for the Study of Partisanship and Ideology found that over 60% of Americans believe race and gender should never be significant factors in hiring or college admissions. When institutions prioritize diversity indicators over competence and experience, they undermine meritocracy and spark frustration in staff and students who feel their work is overlooked in favor of superficial group metrics. Diversity in itself isn't the issue, but forcing diversity through preferential treatment leads to backlash and resentment, not unity. And while DEI claims to promote inclusion, it consistently overlooks entire populations who don't fit neatly into race or gender-based categories, namely those living with physical or mental disabilities, those battling mental health challenges, and the elderly. These are groups whose struggles transcend race, sex, and religion, yet they're often excluded from DEI conversations altogether. What's particularly frustrating is that the accommodations they need, like flexible schedules, accessible classrooms, and center-friendly environments or better mental health resources, are usually small and easily implemented. Still, they are overlooked. If DEI is truly about inclusion, how can we justify ignoring people whose needs are real, but whose identities don't fit a trendy narrative? Rather than fostering shared humanity, DEI programs actually amplify perceived differences. They divide individuals into fixed identity boxes and often frame interaction through a lens of oppressor versus oppressed. This framing creates a culture where people feel alienated simply because of their background. A 2021 report from University of Michigan found that organizations with intense DEI focus often experience more self-segregation. Employees stuck to people from their own assigned identity groups and felt awkward engaging with others. The result, more division, not less. In schools, students report feeling like they can't express differing viewpoints about DEI topics without being labeled intolerant or problematic. This stifles real dialogue and forces opinionated conformity under the disguise of education. The politicization of DEI has only made the situation worse. A 2022 Pew Research survey found that 70% of conservatives believe DEI programs are harmful, while 80% of progressives strongly support them. That's a massive divide, one that shows DEI has become less about inclusion and more about political identity. Mandatory DEI training has also backfired in many cases. A Harvard Business Review study valued that forcing employees to attend DEI sessions actually increased resentment and pushback, as workers felt coerced into adopting specific worldviews rather than fostering natural collaboration. DEI is deepening ideological rifts. So while DEI programs may have started with noble goals, the real-world consequences have been far more divisive than unifying. By emphasizing identity over merit, promoting ideological conformity, and ignoring entire populations like the disabled or the elderly, DEI often creates environments where resentment grows, dialogue shrinks, and true inclusion remains out of reach. If we want to build a true, inclusive, and diverse and harmonious community, we need to shift away from rigid DEI frameworks. Let's focus instead on universal fairness, open dialogue, and individualized opportunity, values that include everyone, not just who check a box. Thank you.
And with the affirmative cross-examination for 3 minutes, Journey Beard.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are essential for creating inclusive environments in schools, ensuring that students from all backgrounds have indistinguishable opportunities for success. The absence of these policies leaves students vulnerable to discrimination, making it difficult for them to thrive academically and socially. Furthermore, removing DEI programs means that students are not exposed to uncomfortable but necessary conversations involving privilege, race, and gender, topics that are essential for their success in the real world. Rather than running from these difficult conversations, students should be encouraged to face them head on. The removal of DEI programs has serious consequences in the classroom. Dr. Mary Beth Gassman from the University of Pennsylvania highlights that without these programs, disadvantaged students are more likely to lose access to support systems, such as college preparation, mentorship, and even mental health counseling. According to the American Council on Education, this is specifically an issue for historically Black colleges and universities, which heavily rely on federal funding to maintain their mission of easy access and equity. President Donald Trump's executive orders that eliminate DEI directly threaten these institutions. Many young African American students seek HBCUs as their most affordable and comfortable option for higher education, with tuition rates nearly 30% lower than their predominantly white counterparts. With the removal of DEI policies, the progress made by these institutions will be reversed, limiting access to higher education for Black students. Nevertheless, this issue does not just affect HBCUs, but also minorities in those predominantly white institutions. DEI policies ensure that Black students at PWIs are valued and seen, rather than isolated. The removal of these programs will increase racial separation that already exists on these campuses, making it even harder for minorities to succeed. Ultimately, eliminating DEI programs is not just the removal of some policy. It is a direct attack on progress. DEI is about ensuring that all students, regardless of their background, have a fair chance at success. When we eliminate DEI, we are telling students that their voices do not matter, that their struggles are not valid, and that their success is not a priority. It sends a clear message that inclusivity is optional rather than necessary. Without these policies, we risk having an education system that supports inequality rather than disassembling it. So tell me, how can we claim to support equal opportunities when we actively strip them away from those who need it the most? Thank you.
Now we will have a team conference for 2 minutes, starting now. All right, if we could return to our seats. continue now with the negative rebuttal number 1 from Yuzuri Caldwell for 3 minutes.
Good evening. While a lot of people support DEI initiatives, the facts show that they actually create more problems than they solve. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are supposed to bring people together, but instead they cause division and polarization. Instead of making workplace and schools more inclusive, they make them more divided and argumentative. First, the research from the Arstow Foundation shows that diversity training programs often make people feel more divided instead of bringing them together. These programs can create a us versus them mentality where people feel pressured to agree with a specific viewpoint rather than having open discussions. This kind of thinking leads to resentment and distraught, making workplace more polarized rather than united. Second, Edgar Sanderson, PhD, argues in a 2024 Medium article that DEI programs do not actually help people feel included. Instead of making people feel welcome, these programs focus too much on labeling people by their identity instead of seeing them as individuals. These make people feel like they are being judged based on categories rather than their own abilities, which leads to more division and political arguments. Another big problem is that many companies are realizing that DEI programs cause more harm than good. For example, Walmart recently cut back on its DEI programs after realizing that separating people into groups based on race and gender does not actually help them work together. Instead, these programs cause tension, with some employees feeling like they were being treated unfairly. This had led to many arguments and frustration in the workplace. Finally, many experts believe that DEI programs have actually made political and social divisions worse. A recent article explains that instead of helping people focus on shared values, DEI programs often make people stick to their own groups and avoid real conversations. This has led to more political fighting and cultural division, making it harder for people to find common ground. By pushing a strict rule about how people should think, DEI programs have caused more polarization rather than reducing. My opponent has stated that DEI has boosted cultural understanding and gives empathy, and people work better with DEI, but I beg to differ. In conclusion, while DEI programs claim to promote inclusion, they actually increase division and polarization by forcing people into categories, creating ideological pressure, causing workforce frustration. These initiatives often do more harm than good. If the goal is true inclusivity, then organizations should focus on open discussions and shared values instead of rigid DEI policies. Thank you.
With the affirmative rebuttal number 1 for 3 minutes, Cranston Cumberbatch.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There is a current narrative on DEI insisting that instead of diversity, equity, and inclusion, it instead means didn't earn it. The idea of didn't earn it stems from the many misconceptions of DEI, which are mostly centered around race. Due to these misconceptions, DEI is often portrayed as a tool that was made solely to benefit people of color. Because of this belief, people not only tarnish DEI itself, but also the people they believe it was made for. According to ywboston.org, misrepresentations of DEI play on tired, dangerous tropes about the scary, incompetent black person who's trying to take things away from regular people. The idea of taking things away from regular people leads those against DEI to the misconception that DEI discourages meritocracy. Meritocracy is a system in which individuals are selected for positions of power and success based on their abilities and achievements. This misconception is tied to many workplace practices set on the belief that DEI encourages hiring unqualified candidates of color. Forbes.com states that in a workplace that has strong DEI practices in place, unqualified non-white candidates should never be shown preference over more qualified white applicants. They go on to mention that according to Korn Ferry research, almost 60% of black executives at Fortune 500 companies feel that they must accomplish twice as much as their colleagues to be seen as equal. Moving on from the misconceptions, the reality of DEI is shaping the world of today and the future of tomorrow. The impact of DEI in education is changing the way things are being taught and learned in schools today. According to freedommind.org, DEI principles have influenced school curriculums, student support systems, and policies that foster inclusivity. With DEI impacting many layers of education, its removal is more than just getting rid of a program. It is impacting the entirety of school. Without DEI practices set in place, many students won't know the history from which they come from. McMillanLearning.com states, many students attending a history class did not realize that segregated schools were part of our national history. Having these conversations about the history of civil rights reminds us all that the playing field has never been equal and that there is considerable danger in political movements that seek to silence the very efforts that have moved us toward a more integrated society. The curriculum in schools today is being modified to fit President Trump's image. It is stated by APnews.com that pulling the books off the shelves is another step in the Trump administration's far-reaching efforts to eliminate so-called DEI content from multiple programs, including online social media posting and curriculum at schools. This effort has reached the U.S. Naval Academy, forcing them to ban nearly 400 books that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the efforts of banning these books, it is a direct attempt to erase our history. Now, diversity, equity, inclusion, or didn't earn it? The real question should be, why must we earn what we should have already been given? Thank you.
With the negative rebuttal for 2 minutes and closing statement, we have Kiana Chambers.
Good evening. In discussing the emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion in schools and workplaces, it's essential to recognize that while the intentions behind DEI initiatives are often noble, they can inadvertently lead to polarization and division. First, let's consider how DEI initiatives can create an us versus them mentality. A study by the American Psychological Association found that 71% of employees believe that diversity initiatives can create division within teams. When organizations focus heavily on identity categories such as race, gender, or sexual orientation, there's a risk of fostering an environment where individuals are primarily seen through the lens of these identities. This can lead to a culture where people are pitted against one another based on their backgrounds rather than their individual merits or contributions. Moreover, the implementation of DEI policies can sometimes result in resentment and backlash among those who feel excluded or unfairly treated. According to a survey from the Pew Research Center, 40% of Americans believe that diversity efforts can lead to resentment among those who feel overlooked. If certain groups receive preferential treatment in hiring or promotions, it can foster feelings of alienation and resentment among those who perceive themselves as being overlooked. This division can create a toxic workplace culture where individuals are more focused on identity politics than on working together to achieve shared objectives. Additionally, the emphasis on DEI can lead to the suppression of open dialogue. A report from the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education indicated that 62% of college students feel uncomfortable sharing their views on campus due to fear of backlash. In environments where DEI is heavily emphasized, individuals may feel hesitant to express their opinions or engage in discussions that could be perceived as politically incorrect. The stifling of free speech and open discourse can create an atmosphere of fear where people are more concerned about offending others than engaging in constructive conversations. In closing, while the goals of diversity, equity, and inclusion are commendable, we must be cautious about the methods used to achieve them. The potential for polarization and division is significant when individuals are categorized primarily by their identities. Instead, we should strive for a more holistic approach that values individual contributions and fosters genuine dialogue. By doing so, we can create environments both in schools and workplaces that promote unity and collaboration rather than division and animosity. Just think about the fact that we're debating on this topic is an example of how the emphasis on DEI divides rather than unify. Thank you.
And finally tonight, the affirmative rebuttal number 2 and closing statement from Aaron Shepard.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, judges and peers. When we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, we declare loyalty to a nation that promises liberty and justice for all, not some or those who fit into a mold, but every American, regardless of race, gender, disability, socioeconomic status, religion, or identity. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is not a trend. It is a tool for truth. It is the living, breathing practice of upholding the promise that we've made to one another. Let's take a look at the word often misunderstood, inclusion. Of the three powerful words in this acronym, inclusion is what makes the others emphasized. Diversity without inclusion is a room full of voices unheard or can't speak. Equity without inclusion is an open door that leads to nowhere. Inclusion is not about handouts or special treatment. It's about connection. In schools, inclusion transforms learning environments into spaces where students can not only succeed, but exist as their full selves. Think about the young black girl who never sees a scientist look like her in a textbook, or the disabled student who is always placed on the sidelines of classroom engagement. Those aren't minor oversights. They are early messages that say, you don't belong here. Inclusion interrupts that message and replaces it with, I see you, and you do indeed matter. Around the globe, inclusion is a recognized force of stability and innovation. Nations, like our own, do and should prioritize inclusion and build stronger democracies, healthier economies, and more peaceful communities. Inclusion works. It is not weakened, but strengthens. In the workplace, inclusion means more than a training session or a hiring quota. It means building cultures where employees aren't forced to fragment themselves to feel accepted. It means recognizing that brilliance comes in every language, every gender, every mobility, and every background. And most importantly, it's about our future. Not just for us, but for our families. Imagine the world where your younger siblings, your children, or your grandchildren will inherit. Will it be a world that teaches them they must erase who they are to succeed? Or will it be a world where they are seen, supported, and celebrated? If we don't invest in DEI today, we leave them with the broken systems we were supposed to fix. But if we embrace them fully, including its uncomfortable conversations and necessary shifts, we will give the next generation a nation closer to what we pledged, one that truly offers liberty and justice for all. So I ask you, are we truly a nation under God indivisible if people still feel invisible? DEI, especially inclusion, is not the cause of division. It is the answer to it. Diversity is our strength. Equity is our responsibility. But inclusion, that is our legacy. Thank you.
And that concludes our debate. Let's give them both a round of applause. Now at this time, I'm going to have one of the teams go and stand behind the other as we bring up the middle schools to stand on this side of, so if you would all just go stand behind your opponents there. And we'll bring up the middle school teams. We're going to get a little, dialogue with some of our judges as we tally the votes. We could have the middle school come up here and just sit right here. I'm going to go up. This is how I'm more comfortable here, holding a mic anyway, so. Oh, you don't have to stand in the shower. Come up to the light. They won't bite you. They're just your opponent. They won't. And middle school, if we could have middle school come on up and just have you sit right. The first team sit at the table, and the other team stand right behind them. Again, let's give both teams, all four teams, a round of applause for excellent work today. So tell me first, from the crowd, did you learn anything? Did you find out something? Did you learn something against the thing that you believe? Did you feel like you learned something on the opposite side about that? That's most important. Now what we'd like to get is some of the interactions from some of the judges. First, let's hear from Dr. Jean-Baptiste. Just what your thoughts on the debates and what you got from it. Any questions you'd like to
first and foremost, can we give them a round of applause? Y'all did an excellent job. I think this is probably going to be the first generation that grew up in AI, whether it's through Facebook, Amazon, that predictive analytics. You all are growing up in that. And your insight and your knowledge and your awareness of that is truly enlightening. I love how you all went into depth in explaining how it should not be used or abused in education, but how it should be a tool. So I commend you all on that, and please give yourself a round of applause on that also. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh.
Got off track here.
Oh, just your insights. Your insights.
Yeah. Amazing work. I think that you can tell the depth of the research that they did to be able to debate each other so articulately and really stress their point. So I commend you all. I take my hat up to you. I could not have done this at your age.
Very good. Very good. If we could pass it on down to Reverend Irby.
Just moving on down, I'd say ditto to everything that Dr. Cron just shared. I'd also want to, I'm just thinking young, gifted, and black.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
And, the idea that you had the courage, the tenacity, and the perseverance to do the research and to stand on this stage today is a testament to the possibilities that are before you. I just want to offer to you all the reality that when you're debating, you're really trying to persuade someone to your point of view, and the importance of eye contact cannot be overemphasized. And so I know you have written responses, but you definitely need to look up, because we as judges, we're evaluating that, to make eye contact, as a couple of you did, look at your colleagues and then gesture towards them. That all counts in making the presentation. It's not just an oral presentation, it is a total presentation of your point of view. But tonight is extraordinary. I think the timeliness and the topical focus on what's happening in our country that is having reverberations around the world is important for you. And then, as already stated, the artificial intelligence piece, the AI piece, you are the generations that's leading that and will be making decisions about that moving forward. And because of the depth of knowledge, we know that the future is in good hands.
Very much so. Thank you. We can move on down the line there, Sergeant.
I was not aware that I would be speaking tonight. I'm very excited to hear all of the thoughts and the effort of our youth that have gone into their speeches tonight. I'm around kids all day. I'm around middle schoolers and high schoolers all day, so I appreciate the extra that you all have done to prepare these speeches, practicing. Again, eye contact is very important, but I'm very excited about our future leaders, and you all will be taking care of us. I've been in my career for a very long time, but I'm excited for the future work that you all will be doing as you venture off into higher education and then eventually into your career. So keep working hard and aspiring to whatever you want to be, because our future is in very good hands. Thank you.
Whoa.
You didn't break it, did you?
No, I hope not. If I did, don't tell nobody. I would just like to say to the coaches, right, your job is tireless. You work with these students nonstop, and we can actually see the efforts that you put into it. So the little tricks and tips that you give them to bring their personalities, we absolutely appreciate that. While the words and the paper are important, I got to tell you, there was a couple of them when they were dropping the mic, and I'm thinking, yeah, wait a minute, am I going? So it really does show for the students, stay ready, right? You need to stay ready. When you stay ready, that means that you know your material. Not only do you know it, you believe it, and you bring your personality to the stage every single time. So when you show up and you bring a little bit of yourself to that, we appreciate that. You allow your light to shine, and we absolutely appreciate that. So to the coaches and to those parents who have worked with their kids, we see it. We see it. We see it in the preparation, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
A little bit. Just wanted to say, I see a beautiful crop of young lawyers. Who in the crowd wants to be a lawyer when they grow up?
All right, there we go. There we go. There we go.
So one day you all will join me in the Florida bar, and I tell you, you all are remarkable. I've traveled the world, I've traveled the country, and I can tell you right now, all of you are the best of the best. You will be surprised at how extraordinary you all truly are, and I just want to say, what you all did today, you're going to have to tap into that spirit for the rest of your life. What you all did was a display of evidence-based persuasion, and that's what you'll have to do. I mean, when you apply to college, I think most colleges require you to draft a personal statement. And what is that? You're going to have to give these colleges evidence as to why you believe that you should be at that university. And that's going to require you to have a bunch of evidence. It's going to have to require you to make an argument about yourself. And you're going to be doing that your whole life. So arguing your position, people may put you in uncomfortable situations where they'll try to prove that what you're saying isn't the right thing, and you're going to have to combat them with what you all did today. And I'm just so proud of each and every one of you. And to all my brothers up there, you look like you're outnumbered 7-1. I appreciate y'all holding it down, and that's what college is going to look like. Right, so you got something to look forward to. And again, just appreciate all of you and your participation. You all did great, and I hope you all give yourselves a pat on the back.
Definitely,
you all
definitely.
Did a great job. Thank you.
Definitely. Now you made me want to ask, how many future journalists do we have up here? Any journalists? There we go. There we go. Rev, help me out here. We're always happy to see that. Journalists, lawyers, we all come from the same. I also want to recognize the parents. Where are the parents here? Well, could you please stand up? Maybe just please. Thank you. Applaud you for all the work that you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. And before we go, any questions you guys, anything you guys want to say? How did it feel to be up here? What did you think? Anybody? I see a look on your face. What did you think? How did it feel being up here?
I was nervous. I'm not used to speaking out into crowds, but it wasn't as much people as I thought it would be. But I really enjoyed listening to my counterparts in the other opposing team go at it about something that's currently happening in the real world. I'm 18, so this is something that is, this is going to affect me, especially. I'm about to be in the workplace, and it's very important that DEI is there for me in my protection and security, job security. So I just liked hearing the ideas and thoughts of my counterparts and so on.
Anybody who had to argue the opposite of how they feel? Anybody?
Testing.
Oops.
Well, I'm going to say, I'm going to speak for my whole team, and I hope one of them will come forward and say something, but I know it was very challenging for us as far as with this subject matter, because we had to argue against our personal views, and we actually had to find some documentation to actually back some of the statements, some of the things that we actually talked about. Ladies, any one of you all want to talk about that?
You do? Okay. Yeah, tell me, how did that feel?
I would say it was kind of difficult, especially at the beginning, because you're looking at stuff and you're like, oh, it doesn't, you're kind of thinking it doesn't really make sense, but then you have to realize that you have to put your personal opinions aside when you're trying to argue this stuff. So, yeah. I don't know. I learned a lot of new things though. So, yeah.
So you kind of raised your hand too. What you had to talk about the opposite of how you felt. Tell me about that.
Well, usually when it comes to schoolwork, I use AI when it comes to like planning my notes when I do note taking. So having to talk about regulating it opened my eyes to other ways I could use note taking instead of using AI.
All right, well, you all did an excellent job. Again, another round of applause. All 4 teams, you did an excellent job. Oh, you got one. Wait, I forgot he had something to say.
Being up here today is like really mind-opening. It's like speaking about AI in different ways shows like I don't know how to say it, but like it shows how AI is throughout the world and how we have to deal with it, and yeah.
Let me say something. All y'all look beautiful. The ladies, the men's. I like your suits. So let that sink in before you do the vote. Let it sink in.
Give me that microphone. Speaking of which, I believe we have the numbers now. Oh, come on over here. The moment of truth has arrived. So, yeah, okay. All right. Out of a possible 600 points, we have with 407 points, Coach James Jackson III with the negative, but with 531 points, Coach Brandy Williams with the affirmative. So we want to hand these out. Brianna? Oh, you want? Okay, you can call.
As we call your name, come up and get your envelope and certificate. Bernard Stokes.
Come on over here to the middle. You can come right here. Let's give them all a round of applause. All right, again, out of a possible 600. With the negative, Coach Cedric Hall, 494. Winning tonight with the affirmative, with 572, Coach Joe Everywright and the affirmative. Congratulations.
Shepherd. Jordan Moore. Sinai Dunbar. Cranston Cumberbatch. Brianna Chambers. And Journey Beard. And Jayla Hall. Jayla will receive her certificate a little later. And Coach Joy Avery Wright. Renaya Stokes. Layla Tyler. Tatiana Shelley. Marley Poole. Kiana Chambers. And Yazuri Caldwell. Let's give them all one big round of applause.
And Coach Cedric Hall. Didn't know what he was signing up for. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you all for participating. We will now have our closing remarks by our president of Zeta Upsilon Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Janae Skipper, and the president of the Ada Rho chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Mr. James Jackson Jr.
My name is Janae Skipper. I am the president of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority incorporated Zeta Upsilon Omega chapter.
And I'm James Jackson, president of the Ada Rho chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity incorporated.
We would like to extend a heartfelt thank you for all of you for coming out tonight. And we would like to just thank all of our participants for a wonderful job.
Your presence underscores the significance of critical thinking and public speaking, which drives the importance of diverse perspectives within our community. We are so grateful for your commitment to empowering our young leaders and for making this a valuable and enriching experience.
Now, the ladies of the Zeta Upsilon Omega chapter, along with the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Ada Rho fraternity, just would like to thank our coaches, our judges, and again, all of the participants. Families, we could not be more honored than to, have you entrust your children's care to us. So we thank you for your trust in all that we do. Mr. Trevor, thank you once again for your continued support. And families, students, participants, we'd like to just say thank you for joining us. Again, let's congratulate our scholars in closing. Thank you for coming out, and we wish you all a good night.